I've caught myself in the last few weeks kind of reflecting and being like, okay, look, do I still choose plural marriage? Yeah, I still choose it, but I've had to have that conscious decision with myself. I've had to really think. My children are almost grown, and there's not a huge necessity anymore to stay. It was a wonderful way to raise children. I just don't need this. In the last 18 months, I've realized that I'm pretty good. I'm independent, and I'm not gonna stand here and be yelled at. I just don't need it. I don't deserve it. I don't need it.
Hi, friends. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is April 9th, 2025. It's been a couple years now since Janelle Brown and Kody Brown split up, but it's taken all of this time for Janelle and Mary to finally annihilate the empire and take down Kody and Robyn. And while this empire has been slowly crumbling, the two of them had been left in limbo while they waited for Kody and Robyn to do the right thing, and actually hand over parts of their property at Coyote Pass, and to ensure that when everything is sold, when Coyote Pass goes on the market and there's buyers, that the proceeds of the sale is equally divided between them all. And Robyn finally gave in and she signed up everything over on a March 26th, officially placing Mary and Janelle equally across all of the deeds, along with Kody and Robyn. Like, they're all 25% owners. And now that that is secured, Janelle finally is able to move on. The property still has to sell, but this was a huge hurdle, something that was holding Janelle up, something that she was very worried about because when she left Kody, she had no legal rights. She was concerned about the money that she had contributed to property and that Kody had a history of believing the money was all his. She was concerned that he would try to screw her out of the money. And it didn't take much more than her threatening legal action and then having to work through lawyers to get this all squared away. But it was that moment that enabled Janelle to finally be able to take the steps to get her stuff out of Flagstaff. And so the final nail in the coffin has come, and Janelle Brown has finally moved everything out of Flagstaff. She has moved on. She shared the news on Instagram with the following post. I've had one last storage unit in Flagstaff. It was a lot of the little things that didn't fit in boxes or were last minute evacuees from the apartment that just didn't fit into the U-Haul. I was waiting for a window of time and weather to bring this last load. With the family wedding in SLC last week and needing to pick up a few things from Hunter's Place in Vegas this past week was the week. I've had a fun tour of the Intermountain West and now set my sights on Amarillo tonight. That one country song always plays in my head when I say it. So grateful for my friends, Angela and Christina, who also brought extra help and saved my bacon. There's a couple things that I just need to talk about here because I'm not totally clear about this, but I'm not sure who got married last week. I don't know if the family wedding was like related to someone in her personal immediate family, like if it was like one of her sister's kids, but I don't believe any of the Brown children got married last week. There's none that I'm aware of that are actually engaged, unless this was all under the radar and we knew nothing. But Hunter had a girlfriend and they broke up. Mr. Logan is already married. Aspen's already married. McKelty's already married. Gwendolyn's already married. I don't believe Isabel is engaged. Hayden, I don't think is engaged and I don't think got married. And then the only others would have been Gabriel, her son, or Savannah. And neither one of them are engaged. I know Gabriel has like a new girlfriend that lives in Chicago, but I think that's pretty new. So I wonder who this wedding was. And Leon is already married. So it must have been someone from her immediate family, like her family, not the Brown family. But she called it the family. I'm so confused. Who got married? Is there another sister wife? Okay, just kidding. So, and also another thing, Christine and David didn't help. So my immediate thing is, did they not film this? When she moved from Flagstaff the first time, she didn't announce anything. In fact, she said nothing really. She only was very vague about the fact that she was splitting time between Flagstaff and North Carolina. She wouldn't say that she actually was moved. She would just allude to it because it was part of the storyline. And then obviously we saw the last episode of season 19 of the first half, episode 20, was Christine and David putting all their stuff in her actual U-Haul and moving her. And then Janelle took a shot for the first time. Christine and David got loosey-goosey, and then they drove her to North Carolina, and it was a new beginning for Janelle. So if Christine and David didn't participate, does that mean that the cameras weren't there? And you guys, I know you're going to get mad at me when I say this, but a lot of the stuff that Christine and Janelle have done in the last several years has been for cameras. Like they were getting together for cameras. When they were doing things without cameras and celebrating with their family, they weren't often together. Obviously, they got together when it came to Garrison's death, and they did those memorials and celebrations of life as a family. And I don't believe most of that was on camera. But the other big events where Christine and David would step in to help, it was all because of the cameras. And a lot of their relationship post split was around the cameras and around the promotion of the show and the fact that they were still working together. As they've been able to separate themselves from the family, it would only be natural that they move in separate directions. You can't stay super tight friends when one lives in Utah and the other one's now in North Carolina. You know, they still care about each other, obviously, but they're not going to be as like in each other's day-to-day lives anymore. So I wonder, were cameras even there? I wonder because, again, when she moved before, they didn't announce any of that. It could be that it's just smaller things, so it's not that big of a moment for the cameras. But to me, her taking all of her final things from Flagstaff is super symbolic, at least in my eyes, because until Robyn signed off on the property and until everything got divided, they were able to keep Janelle in a state of like limbo. And Robyn was able to say, well, what about your relationship with Janelle? Couldn't you just try? Don't you think there's a possibility for reconciliation? I mean, even until the last episode, like episode 20, Robyn was still unwilling to accept that Kody and her were going to be monogamists. Part of me will always be convinced that Robyn was reluctant to accept it because of the money aspect, because if the money stayed all with one family, they could keep the show, obviously. And then the money pot of the money going into one pool, like it used to before Janelle and Mary left, would all be hers because she's Kody's wife, right? She was able to use the family pot for her doll collection. I know, it's ridiculous. But whether it was imagined or not, or it was for show or not, Robyn was the one that wanted Kody to reconcile with Janelle and kept telling him that he needed to try to work things out with her, even into episode 20, right? So now I'm like, well, okay, so now Robyn has signed off. And obviously the property has not been listed yet. It's April 9th, and properties are moving pretty fast right now in Flagstaff. So it would be a really good time for them to list the property. They might still be waiting on the appraisals that they do ahead of time, or working with a realtor now that it's finally all set, because now that they all are like co-owners and 25%, they have to make decisions on sales prices, at least together on two of them. Mary and Janelle can actually list one of the parcels themselves, and Kody and Robyn could list one of the parcels themselves. But my guess is that they're probably going to list them all at the same time, because they're all right next to each other and they were initially kind of bought all together, even though they have separate parcels. Regardless, it still needs to be sold. But now that it's all equally divided, Robyn doesn't have a leg up on them anymore. And so there's not this incentive for her to try to push Kody to get back with Janelle, because now everything is fair. Before it wasn't fair, and now it is fair. So now she really has, by moving everything out of Flagstaff, taken that final chance for Kody to get her to come back. You know, sometimes when you go through a breakup and you have stuff that you've left at your ex's, or your ex has stuff left at your place and you kind of hang on to it for a little while. And it's this like symbol of the relationship. And some people do this intentionally because they want their ex to come back to them. And then there's that moment where you're not going to get back together. And so then you finally get rid of that stuff or you send it back or whatever it is. Much like how Kody was like, I need my stuff back from Mary. And she had to, cut apart a quilt, which was so weird. This to me represents Mary cutting apart the quilt, right? It's Janelle getting her stuff that's been stuck in Flagstaff, removing it from Flagstaff, and basically being like, all right, everything that I had that was here is gone. I don't have anything tied to Flagstaff anymore. Gabriel doesn't live there anymore. Savannah doesn't live there. She doesn't have any kids that live in Flagstaff anymore. Gwendolyn lives there with her wife. Obviously, Gwendolyn is Christine's daughter. And then Kody has Robyn and the kids, but that's it. Like everyone else has left Flagstaff at this point. And the only thing left now is the property. The property has been divided. They just have to list it and then they have to sell it and then sign and do the documents. But Janelle doesn't have to even be there for the sales. She can sign remotely. She doesn't have to be there to get the money. The money can be wired to her account from the title company for the proceeds. So really, she doesn't ever have to go back to Flagstaff. And Kody and Robyn are now like isolated in their little bubble in Flagstaff with just them and their kids. And I think that's how they always wanted it, quite honestly. But I think Kody and Robyn, at least probably in the back of their minds, might have thought that Janelle would come back at some point. I don't know. Here's the thing about Kody and Robyn that I don't really understand. Kody claims that he's done being a polygamist and he's completely over it, but Robyn keeps pushing him on the show to be a polygamist. And she wants him to take on more wives, which I think she would hate. But I think that he would have, if Janelle would have agreed to fall in line again, and if he could have like used his little woo-woo methods where he love bombs to get her back into his good graces, if that would have worked, I think he would have gotten back with her as long as she would have accepted the scraps that he gave. And I think because it's worked before in the past and he's been able to get her to come back in the past, it might have been something where he thought it was always a possibility. But now that's over. She's not going to come back. At least I hope not. I mean, this is probably the most final in all of the moves she's ever done. I mean, she did at one point, she stayed in Wyoming when he moved to Utah. But that's not a super far drive. I mean, this is moving from Arizona all the way to the coast to North Carolina. And she's purchased property there. She's building a house. At least I think she's building a house. Maddie and Caleb are there. They're creating this Tata Farms, whatever that is. And that's where she wants to put her roots down. That's what she wants to do for the rest of her life, at least for now. Ultimately, what the decision of her doing this does is it obliterates the celestial kingdom. And if Robyn still believes in the celestial kingdom, Janelle moving is going to be a devastating, moment for her. Even getting the final pieces of her things, having to sign over that document, it's going to be a devastating moment for Robyn because she's giving up the chance to be a goddess in her celestial world where Kody will reign supreme with all of their little spirit babies in their weird little kingdom that they live in together in. I don't even know what it is. Is it heaven? Is it celestial kingdom? Whatever. But that's gone. And Robyn, if she wants to get there, is going to have to find other wives or divorce Kody and remove herself from Kody and find a new man that can save her soul. Which, by the way, a elder of the church could 100%, if she went to them and sought advice from them and talked to them about faith and tried to see what they thought, my guess is they could advise her that for the safety and the security of her soul, because Kody has lost wives, she should leave him and be assigned to a new man or find a new husband for the sake of her soul. Because Kody's soul at this point has been deemed like incompatible with the celestial kingdom because he's a failure. He lost Mary. They disconnected them on grounds of abandonment, right? And even though Janelle hasn't gotten a spiritual release that we know of, she's done. And Christine is remarried to another man. Now, the next step for Janelle to really ultimately obliterate is to find a new man and move on and get married or have a relationship. Because Janelle has stated that she still believes in the faith and still has a faith in this. And if she does, her lack of dating could be associated with the fact that she still believes she's tied to Kody in the celestial kingdom. My final hope for Janelle is not only does she obliterate their celestial kingdom that they have in their minds, but also that for her own sake of sanity and well-being and happiness, that she can like divorce herself from this concept that she has to be married to him in an eternal spot for the rest of her life and for eternity. That will be the real freedom for her, is knowing that there's no ties at all to Kody. But this moment is one to celebrate, y'all. I'm super proud of her. I am happy to see them all taking the steps to move on. I'm also continuing to believe that the show is coming to an end, because if Janelle shared this, I don't know that it was filmed. And if it was, cool. If not, cool too. And I just want to see all of them find happiness. That's it. I feel like Christine has found herself in a really great spot. She's got a good husband. They seem really happy. Mary appears to have a ton of support and friends that she's with in Parowan. She's been doing renovations. And now Janelle is surrounded by her daughter and her son-in-law and the grandkids. And I think she has the capacity now to just finally be happy. It's been a really hard year for her. Think of like the last 13 months. You know, she left her husband, she left her family, her son died, and now she's finally like, okay, I'm moving on. I mean, part of the reason she might have been holding on to the stuff in Flagstaff was because a piece of Garrison, because he was there when that was where he died. But I don't believe he's buried there. But she deserves happiness. She does. I'm going to get teary, you guys. I'm going to get teary. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.